Hey friends, welcome back to the sink next to the lab here at Mark's Minis, where we gotta wash the sprue to get off this gray goo that will keep the paint from sticking. And now it's time to clip out the parts of the GeneStealer Patriarch. This unit is of special interest to us because it can be used as an alternate warlord for the Tyranid side in the Leviathan set. I like him because he's got a different set of abilities and he can force enemy units to make a battle shock test, which can really throw the game in your favor. So remember, most any assembly is easy as long as you use Tamiya extra thin liquid cement. And don't forget, I'm using it here to smooth out the rough spots caused by the nibs that I have removed. So that's the takeaway process here, is cut the nib, sand the nib, and then smooth the nib with Tamiya extra thin liquid cement, and repeat. Yes, assembly is a breeze, if a bit repetitive, so we are ripping through it at extra speed here. We finished assembly by gluing him onto the base, and notice we left off one of the right arms because it was blocking the brain that we want to paint nicely, so we're going to mount that on a stick to paint it separately. And as always, black prime and zenithal with the airbrush. Okay, so real quick, some of my friends have expressed difficulty in selecting color, so here I'm going to map this thing out. I just look up the model and break it down. Here we have claw, flesh, armor, and spike. So I wanted something super bright and vivid, which is all the rage for Tyranids right now. Now if you get stuck on this part, use the dang color wheel, for crying out loud. This model I can kind of show off two different color schemes. And boom, we're done. My genius artistic skills clearly on display here. So friends, all this prep work can be done with conventional brushing, but everyone I've met in this business has an airbrush. Invest in yourself. If you want to level up, get an airbrush. We all have them. So as an experiment, I shot up from below with magenta, but friends, I think you can ignore that. Most of that information was lost by the good coverage of these speed paints. So the posture of this character was odd. He's practically curled up into a ball, so most of the colors inside of him will be dark. But the colors on the outside of him we want to be bright and vivid, so I went with this blazing hot pink, which seems to be popular for the inner flesh tones of the Tyranids. And you can see the magic of speed paints at work. They're doing their stuff and they look good. Now, because of the posture of this character, his face is not the focus, but instead his brain will be. So I'm going to spend more time on his brain, and I'm just going to hope the face comes out okay with speed paint, warrior flesh, and quick dry brushing. So friends, here we are again. It's just paint by numbers. If you can just be neat, and be neater than me, less mistakes than me would be better, and you'll get a decent result. We're not going to win any prizes, but hey, this model really stands out on the battle board. And see friends, he's starting to look decent already. I mean, it's like painting a three-dimensional coloring book. So we just went all around the model and painted all the armor green. Not too bad. And here we are again with the little speed paint medium and some dry brushing. Just going to add a little bit of yellow to those spikes. So here I'm just cleaning up and finishing off the armor that's on his head over his brain, and I'm dragging some of that green up the spines a little bit to try to do a little blending, at least some crude blending to start. Okay friends, now it's time to paint this monster's brain. And we want to start with a bright base coat of warm yellow. We want this to stand out. And I just noticed I missed his little tongue creature. Again, that's not the focus of this model, but I gotta paint it. Okay, so this creature has a number of exposed bones, so I thought I would paint those the natural bone color offered by Bony Matter. Love this speed paint. So I figure I would pop a few highlights with this dry brushing of white, and I always use a little speed paint medium. It really helps, guys. So following the one cool thing rule about miniature painting, I want this brain to be the one cool thing, so I'm building up some interesting colors to try to add some visual interest. Okay, I think we have the makings of an interesting brain here. And look, this guy's sitting on a big metal pipe. Excellent chance to test some speed paint broadsword silver. Let's see what it does. I think it looks okay. What do you think? Let me know in the comments section. Now, these extra dry brushing steps are optional, but they really help kick the miniature up a notch. We're going to brighten these highlights with some Livery Green. It's a very intense bright green, an excellent color from Vallejo. Hey, you want to know another thing that changed my life forever? Cheap makeup brushes, $8 set from Amazon. Excellent for dry brushing. They come in a bunch of different sizes. Killer way to level up your dry brushing. Link down below. I would call this a sort of controlled slap chop. You're just trying to hit the high edges of the green stuff. Okay, I want to put some speed paints on this brain, but first I must brighten it up a little bit. We want it as bright as possible so speed paints can shine. Okay, now to apply some speed paint bright red to this brain. Let's see what happens. So now I felt I had to re-establish the yellow on top of the brain ridges, and I just did that because I thought it was the right thing to do. And we'll just have to see how it turns out. Sort of flying blind here, but I think it turned out okay. In the same way, I put down a little white on just the right side of his brain because that's where his hand is going, like he's casting a spell or something. Now that his brain is fully painted, we can finally glue his arm in. Ooh, and now we have a spooky mood shift as we start work on the base, where we start with Desolation Brown, which I love because it has a nice green component, an excellent speed paint for us. Ooh, and let the spookiness continue as we paint some skulls with bony matter. My favorite speed paint for painting bones. Ooh, and now it's time to get down and dirty with a speed paint type product called Dirty Down, which gives us quick and easy rust effects. So this was a fun speed paint, about 3 hours from sprue to game table. So let's review the top takeaways for bright and vivid Tyranid paint schemes. Number 1, planning. Make an approximate sketch and just mess around. If you get stuck, then you pull out the color wheel. Number 2, bright undercoat. I went really heavy with the zenithal. Dry brush the highlights to add pop. The right brushes and speed paint medium helps a lot with this. And number 4, focus on what's important. I didn't spend any time on the face or the eyes because you can't see him. He's just pointed down too much, so I spent time on the brain. Well, it's my true friends that stay with me to the end, and I sincerely hope that you got something from this video. If you did, don't forget to like. If you haven't already subscribed, please do so. Now, we're going to try something new and fun and different today. I'm showing pictures right now that were sent to me by my friend Adrian. And I am really proud of him. Look at his bold use of red. Look at his free hand on the evil books of the sorcerers. His quality level spiked when he started using speed paints. And I'm so happy to show his progress to you. And if your quality level has spiked since you started using the Army Painter speed paints, send me your pictures and I'll feature them here on Mark's Minis. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time. Bye.